Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to install a brushless motor kit onto a STACYC. Alright, the tools required for the install will be a Phillips head screwdriver, a 4mm Allen, a 10 and 8mm wrench, 8mm deep socket and ratchet, and a 15mm wrench and or ratchet combo. First, you're going to grab your 4mm and remove the footrest. So go ahead and remove the 2 screws on the bottom of the frame there. Once you've got the 2 screws removed, go ahead and tap the footrest forward and off. Next, you'll grab your screwdriver and remove the 7 screws that hold the side panels together. Pay close attention. The screw that joins the side panels and the chain guard has a washer on it, and you want to keep those together. Next, we're going to remove the 8mm bolt that holds the brake onto the frame. So go ahead and grab an 8mm and a 10mm wrench and remove that nut and bolt. Next, grab your 10mm wrench and remove the nut that secures the cable to that brake hanger. And now we're going to go ahead and remove the countershaft sprocket. So grab your 4mm Allen and go ahead and remove that bolt. In some cases, you may have to wedge a flathead screwdriver in the chain and sprocket there to get enough bite for the 4mm screw to come out. Once you've got that removed, go ahead and loosen the chain adjuster by grabbing your 8mm. Go ahead and back that nut off about 1/4 inch to give yourself space to slide the wheel forward and remove the chain off of the countershaft sprocket. Next, we're going to remove the axle bolts. So once again, that's a 15mm wrench or a ratchet or even a power tool in this case. Now tap the wheel forward and remove the chain off of the countershaft sprocket, and now you can remove the whole wheel off of the frame. Go ahead and set that down for now. Next, we're going to remove the motor mount bolts with a 4mm Allen. So go ahead and remove the 2 on each side. And once we got those done, we want to make sure we could pry that countershaft sprocket off. So while it's still on the frame there, go ahead and pop that countershaft sprocket off. And then we're going to slide the motor back just a little bit, remove the rubber edge trim on the frame, and now we're going to fish down the cable that has the throttle connectors on it. You'll notice there's 2. One is disconnected, that is the programming port. That one stays disconnected the entire time. Disconnect those 2 throttle cables, and now you could remove the whole unit directly out the back of the bike. So go ahead and fish the ESC and wiring harness through the frame there. And now you've got the stock motor and ESC removed. Now once you've got the brushless motor kit package out of the box, go ahead and put the countershaft sprocket onto the unit right now. We won't be able to tighten it all the way, so we're going to have to come back and finish this step at a later point in the video. All right, get it as snug as you can. And now we're gonna go back to the bike and we're gonna slide the ESC and wiring harness through the frame. Now go ahead and get the motor kind of settled in there. Now pay close attention to the wiring harness here. Make sure that the battery connectors and diode are going out to the left-hand side of the bike and that the throttle cable connectors are going straight up into the down tube. Once you've made those connections, go ahead and slide the connectors up into the down tube. Take up as much excess cable as you can. Now we're going to grab that diode and put that up into the down tube as well. Now you've kind of got all the wires tucked into place. Next, grab the rubber edge trim and add that to the frame. Once you've got that in position, go ahead and get the ESC where it's going to eventually ride and slide the drivetrain all the way into the frame there. Grab your 4 screws and reinsert them into the 90-degree gearbox. Go ahead and leave them hand tight for now. Once you got all 4 in, go back and torque them down. Next, we're going to grab the rear wheel. We're going to hold it above the frame, reach through the frame, grab the chain, and slide the rear wheel back onto the bike. If anything gets hung up, it's likely that chain guard onto that frame back there. Once you got it into position and onto the counter shaft, go ahead and slide it back. Grab your chain adjuster, add that back to the bike. You'll notice that there's more material on the inside of the chain adjuster. Next, grab your washer and nut. We are just going to leave this hand tight for now. Once we got both sides done, we're going to switch our attention back to the brake. So we're going to add the nut and bolt that holds the brake to the frame. So go ahead and attach those 3 pieces. And once you've got the nut on the back there, go ahead and leave it hand tight. We're going to go back and tighten everything as soon as we've got the chain adjusted to just where we want it. Using your 8mm, go ahead and reapply tension to the chain by tightening that nut. You're going to want to feel behind the chain guide there to see if there's about 2 to 3 millimeters of up and down movement. Once you've got it adjusted correctly, ensure that the rear wheel is riding in a straight line, and then go ahead and tighten down the rear axle nuts. Now that you've got the rear wheel securely on, go ahead and finish torquing down that counter shaft bolt. And then we're gonna finally tighten down the rear brake where it attaches to the frame. So once again, it's an 8mm and 10mm wrench. Next, we're going to reattach the brake cable to the brake drum. So go ahead and grab that 10mm nut and slide the screw through the hanger there. You'll notice that if you pull it forward, that it adds tension to the rear, or applies the brakes. So go ahead and find where the brakes are grabbing. Once you've found where it is stopping the bike by spinning the rear wheel, go ahead and slide it back about 1 to 2 millimeters and tighten down. Once you've gotten it tightened down, go ahead and check the action by giving it a good spin and using the brake lever. Next, we're going to grab our side panels. You'll notice where the ESC rides on the side panels. So go ahead and get the left in position first. Locate the ESC onto the side panel. Now switch your attention down to the battery connector. It's got a couple locating features, a couple grooves that need to slide into each other. Once you've got that into position, grab the right hand side panel and line up everything. You're going to want to make sure that the battery connector is mating correctly with the left and right hand side panel. And once you've got everything in position there, go ahead and start at the bottom screw and tighten that one down first. Then go ahead and tighten down the remaining 5 screws. Once you've got those screws installed, go ahead and grab your footrest, slide it and tap it on into position. Take your 2 screws, reinstall them with a 4mm Allen. Next, slide the battery into position and ensure that the bike is in the desired speed setting. Once you have completed all these steps, it's time to take it out for a rip. Have fun.